Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner Classic Last Known Classics. That was episode number 26. 26. A double shot 2520. This first trade was actually one of the two trades I picked up from Central Florida Comic Con last month. Yes. It was kind of weird. It was kind of strange. Like I had searched everywhere around that freaking con to find a graphic novel because I like buying graphic novels. And this is actually one of the two I found that I didn't have because I figured, though, why not get this? So here we go. First up we have is Grim Fairy Tales presents Robin Hood Volume 4, which collect issues of Robin Hood's, basically her ongoing series, 16 and 20. Yep. Now, interesting fun fact. Now, of course, the longest running ongoing series is Grim Fairy Tales. Obviously, it's publishing since, with the exception of a relaunch, it's mostly publishing nonstop since 2005. It's publishing now for over 19 years, and it's almost reaching issue 200. Now you're probably thinking, okay, what is the second longest ongoing series? That would be Wonderland at 50 issues. This one is the third longest. And there's of course there's also the Grim Tales of Terror, but those are 12, almost 13 issue maxi series. They haven't published one in a while, but it's 4 volumes, 13 issues. But this was a full-blown ongoing series. This even collects the annual that came out in 2016. Actually, it's 17 and 20. Mostly put, this is actually, this is kind of in the way the end of this ongoing series. So this is the first one discussed for this one. You probably noticed, though, that the cover looks very bent. Well, here's the thing. That's not me who did that. That's how I bought it. And how much this thing cost me? $5. Yep. But this book, it's a lot of fun. Mostly put, there's a lot of stuff happening here. Robin is wrapping up her various tickets for ongoing series. Now, I read this when this thing started, and I loved it. And I kept thinking, though, why would you end a really good series? We have a Archer private attack to operate a major city, which, by the way, Marv was doing also this too with Hawkeye. So, I don't see why not. So, the writing duties of this book is done by Pat Shan, the guy who created this character. The artwork for basically issues 7, basically for the first 4 chapters, which is basically 1720, and that's done by Roberta Ingra, and Larry Watts does the annual. Yes, he's also the editor of this book, believe it or not. Yep, so mostly put is basically Robin Hood dealing with stuff wrapping up the course of the series. Now here's your cast of this book. Robin Loxley, Marion Quinn, a.k.a. Maid Marian, Sam Conover, her girlfriend, yes, her girlfriend, Maid Marian's a lesbian, and according to Pat Shan, the original plan for Maid Marian was make her a love interest for Robin, and then he changed her mind, and during this book, he actually proposes to her girlfriend Sam and gets married to her. There's also Peter Martin, the writer, Officer Julia Gendricks, Brandon A. Allen II, Sidney Barney Evia, Lisa Van Helsing, yes, Hades Blackstone, her boyfriend. Yes, seriously. Lisa is dating the god of the underworld. Because she basically asked him out. There's also the Pacemaker, Athena, Morgana, Red Death. Yeah, Red Death is a kind of like a spy character in the Grimm universe who actually has had 3 or 4 limited series of her own. Much, Cindy Moore, Cinderella. And she's a serial killer. And also there's Ivory. First one focuses on basically a Red Death. You look at her she looks like basically with the way her look is. She kind of looks like basically Grim, Zansko's version of all people, Taskmaster. You could say yes. So yeah, basically it's also the Forest Apocalypse here. She's not the only guest star here. Basically, she's appearing in issue number 17. And And of course, you have Aquila here. That's her. Yeah, she's basically an issue. Now, in 18, Cindy shows up. Yes. And she's evil. Also, in another Robin Hood book, she murdered Marion's wife. Yep, she killed her. And in the most recent thing for Cinderella, she killed Robin, brought her back as a zombie, and then she was restored by the end of the one-shot. Yes, seriously. It's like battling zombies here. Cindy, of course, is, well, being the crap out of by Robin in her apartment. And it's mostly about dealing with toward the end of this book. That's most of what this is. And it's like, okay, let's have the breaker. It's like, yeah, and then we have Into the Glory. That's basically chapter 3. Yeah, this is the issue where... I think this was the issue where Marion proposes to her girlfriend. Yeah, and here's a little fun fact. I actually read all the issues of this book when it came out. The annual I did not, because for some reason the website I was reading on didn't upload it. So I waited a while, and eventually I decided to go look for it, and I found it. And I read it. It was actually Robin Hood's very first annual. And here's a fun factoid. Did you know last year Robin Hood released her 100th issue? Yep, she did. Yep, basically, at least Zenoscope knows how many issues Robin Hood has. Basically, like every single book she's published since her very first limited series, they count all that as part of her number, including this very book itself. And of course, battling this. Really good artwork here. Yeah, so by the annual by the end of the book, now the annual is basically like, oh, let's have where Cindy's basically, of course, we have some zombies, and we also have the wedding of Marion and her girlfriend. Yep, they get married here, and at least Pat Shant knows basically that having a lesbian wedding in comic books is not a bad idea. Look, here it is, an actual lesbian wedding, something DC Comics did not want to do. Actually, more like Dan the Deal didn't want this, though. But yeah, Pat Shand did it, no problem. Yes. It's like, okay, so we can't have Batwoman get married, but yet this is okay. All because this one group of people didn't like the fact that we have a potential lesbian wedding. Now, I think DC did it as basically a copying idea from Marvel Comics. When Northstar got married to basically his boyfriend in the book. Yep, so it's a great annual, a lot of fun too, but absolutely really fun book. This one, again, this may be the end of the series, but still fun book. I'm going to review more Robin Hood books as time goes on. Yes. Love the character, and aside from Grand Fairy Tales, this actually is one of like 2 or 3 books I would love to see more books of this character, because she's definitely a popular character from Zenoscope. Definitely. The only problem is Zenoscope would rather just do one-shots for her. That's what they've done with her in the last couple of years. One-shots galore. Same thing with Van Helsing. She and Van Helsing, in my honest opinion, are Zenoscope's most popular solo characters outside of Grand Fairy Tales. Excuse me. If you want to think of like, I'd say these two are definitely neck and neck, probably tied for like the highest, by the most popular. If you are thinking like, who just beneath them? I would say probably it's Red Death. I don't think she is. She's had a few miniseries. I'd say it's probably Belle. Yes, Belle is another one. Yeah, Belle, as in from Beauty and the Beast. Yep, she's had a series of miniseries and one-shots. She's definitely another one I think that Zenoscope likes pushing. And I think someone that people do like, but if you want to basically, if you talk to somebody who's a fan of Zenoscope, outside of the main Grand Fairy Tales series, who was their favorite character? For a lot of people, it's probably either Robin Hood herself, or it's probably Lisa Van Helsing. 2 characters who also Chuck Deckers wrote miniseries for. Yep. Though for some reason, when he wrote the Van Helsing book, he forgot to wear her iconic hat. Yep, but fun book overall. Alright, Next up we have is another book. By the way, the theme of this one is sexy ladies. Next up we have is Wonder Woman! The Golden Age, Volume 2. I've only viewed just the first volume. Now, prior to this book, I only read the Wonder Woman issues. I've never read the Station Comics or Comic Cavalcade. Now, Station Comics, those of you curious about that, why does Wonder Woman have this book for? Well, before the start of her ongoing series, which is still publishing this very day, well, she had appeared in Station Comics. Basically, this is DC's answer to having, let's say, she's not the only one who did this, to have like a spotlight book and then appearing in a solo book. I mean, they had this successful with Batman and Superman, which with Action Comics and Superman and Batman and Detective Comics, which that's still successful this very day. So DC decided to do the same thing with Wonder Woman. Though, of course, also for Wonder Woman, of course, you also had World's Finest also joined that lineup too. So basically, Batman had 3 books, Superman had 3 books. Wonder Woman at one point had 3 books at the same time. You had her main solo book, you had Station Comics, and Comic Cavalcade. Comic Cavalcade had 3 main features in it. We have Wonder Woman herself, Alan Scott, and Jay Garrick. For Alan Scott, this was actually his 3rd comic. Same thing with Jay Garrick. Yeah, and there wasn't many characters at DC Comics who had more than 1 comic for themselves. Because you had these following characters who had more than 1 comic. Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Jay Garrick, and Alan Scott. And that was it. You might think, okay, what about Wildcat? 1 comic. Mr. Terrific, the original one. 1 comic. Sandman. 1 comic. A lot of the other characters like 1 comic. Either they were in Adventure Comics or they were in... sometimes in World's Finest or even more fun comics like all these other anthology books. But basically, now, Flash... Jay Garrick, he did have an actual solo book called All Flash. Now, in these particular issues, we actually debut of 2 very popular characters who are still appearing this very day. First one is Dr. Psycho. And it's the same one. Strange enough, after this one appearance, he is not appearing again until the 60s. The other character who kind of replaces Paula, she's the Nazi one, they replaced her with the Cheetah. Priscilla Rich, the original Cheetah. You can see her right on the cover. Yeah, that's the original Cheetah. Yep. By the way, all these issues here are still written by William Moult Morrison, basically her creator, and Harry G. Peter. The book collects Station Comics 15 to 24, Comic Cavalcade 2 through 5, and Wonder Woman 4 through 7. That's basically what this book collects. It's a lot of, with the exception of the stories feature Psycho Man and Cheetah, it's mostly about Wonder Woman battling like one-shot Nazis. Yeah, that's basically what it is because it's wartime. Oh, in case you're curious though, the book itself came out at a time period of March. That was basically Station Comics. March of 1943, and the final issue of Station Comics' this book came out in December of 1943. Basically in the span of 1 year. Comic Cavalcade was a quarterly book. One was published bi-monthly. So the first issue was April to May of 1943, and the final issue in this book came out in winter of 1943. Basically everything came out in 1943, but getting close to the end of the war. I'd say with the very next book. But this book is really fun. Cheetah appears a lot in these issues. She appears in several issues in a row. Yes, Priscilla Rich, the original Cheetah. You're thinking, really? Oh yeah, really. Appears a lot in this book. Now, there is technically one more Golden Age book left. I believe so. Yes, there's one more I have left to go, but that's not the end of the Golden Age. Nope. No, it is not. Basically, what's collected in here, it is mostly what's collected already in the Wonder Woman Golden Age omnibus. Basically, what I discussed here, that's all in one book. Yep. Now, would I discuss the other stuff for her? Probably yes. Mm-hmm. Yes, I probably will. Yeah, I might cover basically her run in the rest of the Golden Age. Like I might think of doing that. Oh, by the way, there's actually a sixth one coming out really soon, which they have not revealed exactly what's going to be in this Golden Age book because by Volume 5, Sage of Comics finished up at that point. And now, if you're really curious, with this particular book for Wonder Woman, how many more. Now, Wonder Woman, there's still plenty of issues left to go, but in the case of basically Sensation Comics, which some people mistaken that was their first ever appearance, it really isn't. It's actually, well, if you're curious, how long did Wonder Woman basically be a feature in this very comic? Well, if you're going to be asking that, she was a feature into issue, I think it was 57. Of course, there was a revival book that featured her, but she was featured as the spotlight character until I was thinking like 109. Or was it romance at that point? Yeah, it was romance. I think it was like 57, I think it said it was. I'm going to take a look here about that. Let's see. What was the last special issue? Um, the Golden Age book basically would tell me, the omnibus. Let's see. 104. I think that was her last official appearance in the Golden Age. I think that was her last official comic. Mm-hmm. I'm going to take a look here about that, just to be sure. Nope, still appearing. Let's see. I think like 106 was basically her last time. Yep, 106. So for basically issue Sage of Comics of the cover for this book, I mean, next book goes to basically. Now you think about this book, like okay, so it's 107. So basically, it is roughly at this point. I'd say it's probably like let's see, 83. Yep, 83 issues left to go. Comic Cavalcade by issue 5. There's about 24 issues left. Wonder Woman, still plenty of issues left. But I'm going to give this book roughly a 9 out of 10. Still a pretty good book. Not a lot of really noteworthy stories here, except for the fact he fights Cheetah for the first time. Yes. Yeah. You're thinking, the Cheetah. You mean Barbara Nova. Nope, not her. The original one, Priscilla Rich. Yeah. Yeah, she made her first appearance in issue 6, which was the penultimate issue of this very book. Yep. Now, basically her appearances in this very book, like I mentioned, it was a good amount. She did appear a few times even after this, but it's not exactly very noteworthy for her. Yeah, there was another version of her that, of course, she also appeared into the Silver Age of comics. Yeah, she first appeared in issue 160. Yep, that's when they brought her in. But she only appeared very few times, the Earth 2 version. And of course, there was the New Earth version, the one who's dead. You're thinking, how? She got killed by her successor, Barbara Minerva. Yep. Well, her successor in the future, anyways. Her second successor. Now, she got replaced in the Silver Age, her second Cheetah, was a woman by the name of Debbie Dahmen, who first appeared in issue 274. Jerry Conway created the character. And of course, you have Barbara Moore. She was the third one. Barbara Minerva. Yeah, she's the most noteworthy one and probably one of the people think of. There's also Sebastian Burchos. Who the heck is that? A male cheetah. And it's pointed out, I wonder when she first meets him, like, you're a man. He's like, yeah, I am. Yeah, and also Greg Gork gonna kill them off too. Yeah. That was the thing with basically with these characters. Like, basically, yeah, the whole thing of basically killing them off, it's like, yeah. But yeah, Priscilla Rich didn't really appear a lot in this book. Appeared a handful of times, but great to see first appearance of the cheetah. I think there was, like, if I remember correctly, I think in issue 4 was the debut of Dr. Psycho. I think it was. Because remember, one of these issues basically is debut of that popular character. Oh, Paula Van Gunther. Yeah, she's a Nazi. And it almost seems like basically comes to her. It's like you get to this point in time, Wonder Woman comics, it's like she is. I think they're trying to phase her out at this point because she's featured a lot in Stage of Comics, but basically phase out of being a villain per se. Yes, definitely. Let's see. I think there was one issue here. They have debut of Dr. Psycho. Here he is, Dr. Psycho. Yep. Well, the original version of the character, who's got a big head. Yeah, first appeared in issue number 5. Now, if you're curious, what the heck did Dr. Psycho look like in this book? Issue 5, let's see. That was on page 132. If you're curious, that is Dr. Psycho. You're thinking, wait, that's Dr. Psycho? Yeah, it is. Now, this version of Dr. Psycho, the original Golden Age version of the character, he did not appear very much. Not really, no. Here's the thing, his next appearance after this one comic book would be in Wonder Woman 18. Yep, that would be his very next appearance. And then he will appear also in Sensei Comics 36. I don't know which one came out first. Let's see. December. Come on, July. So, I think his next appearance was Sensei Comics, and it was Wonder Woman 18. And after that, he appeared in World's Finest 40 and 49. Then he appeared in Infinity Inc. number 7. I think it's like a flashback. But, yeah, this version of Psycho didn't really appear very much. But it's interesting, though, the fact, well, it's probably because DC decided to drop these characters. Now, you might be thinking, what is Dr. Psycho's real name? He does not have a real name. Not really. Now, the rebooted version of the character debuted in 10160. During the Silver Age, same issue where she battles the cheetah. Yes, thing. When she was the Silver Age version of Cheetah, who only appears 3 times. Yeah, then you have the third one. There's like 3 different ones. The third one is Dr. Edgar Cizeko. Yeah, he first appeared in Wonder Woman Volume 254. Yes, George Perez brought this guy in. Thinking, really? Yes. Dr. Psycho, this one, appeared in the George Perez comic. You're thinking, that's strange. Why the heck would he appear in George Perez comic? Honestly, I have no idea. But that's where he first appeared. And here's a little strange fun fact. This one is appearing in the current continuity. Yes, the third one is the one appearing right now. It first appeared in Superboy, which his appearance in the book was weird. Yeah. But basically, he got moved back around to Wonder Warrior where he belongs. But yeah, that's pretty much those two villains in a nutshell. But you might be thinking, what about the cheetah, Priscilla? In the case of the original cheetah, Priscilla Rich, like after her debut in issue number 6, like, is she like a recurring villain in this book? Well, after issue 6, I think that was like her only appearance in this book. Let's see, 6. Let's see. Her next appearance was in Sensation Comics 22. That was like her very next appearance. And then after that, I mean, she didn't appear in the main one we'll get into for quite a while. Her next appearance after that would be in Sensation Comics 36, which I'll probably discuss later. But yeah, I do appreciate the fact we actually have 2 appearances by the cheetah. I like the cheetah. Great character. I'm not the biggest Wonder Woman fan, but I do like the comic. Yep. So yeah, that's a particular view. Next up, Josh Muncie, Moonlight Fantasy. Okay, next view.